Hey folks, today we're sponsored by Hover, the best way to buy and manage domain names. When you're looking for the best place for a domain, geeks, developers, designers, and programmers are always talking about Hover. People who know a lot about domain names love to use Hover. That's because they know Hover has the best tools and support. But you don't have to be an expert to get a domain. If you've never registered a domain name, you'll love Hover too. Head over to hover.com, use the coupon code AREWEGOOD to get 10% off. Are we good? All one word at hover.com. That's HOVER.com. We're also sponsored by Slingbox. Make your second screen your first with a Swingbox and Swing Player app. It's the best way to watch your own TV anywhere on your tablet, smartphone, or laptop. Watch all of your favorite shows, sports, and news live or on your DVR anywhere in the world. Save $30 and get free shipping by going to slingbox.com/WTF. Yes, on with the show.
Lock the gate!
All right, let's do this. How are you, what the fuckers, what the fuck buddies, what the fuckineers, what the fucknicks, what the fuckstables, what the fuckadelics, what the fuckaholics? I am Marc Maron. This is WTF. It's early in the morning. That is also a Harry Nelson song. A good one. But it is early. Things are going all right. I'm a little tired. I'm not going to complain. Look, I know a lot of you are out there digging your shit out of snow, sub-zero temperatures. I hear reports on the NPR that some of the temperatures are dangerous for the children and the elderly. That's fucking cold if your grandma's going to freeze. You got to make sure the baby's room's heated properly so you don't wake up to a babysicle. Ah, it's horrible. Horrible. I would scratch that from the record of jokes that came out of my mouth if I had a way to do it, and I do, but I'm not gonna, I guess. Pow! Look out. Just coffee.co-op. Just shit my pants. Man, I got that all jangled up. Hey, I know it's cold. I know people's lives are harder than mine. But I am up a little early. I can't sleep in the morning. I don't know what that's about. As you get older, does your body know you're running out of time and need you to get up earlier? Come on, dude. Not that much left. I just can't. I don't know if that's a form of insomnia. Like I wake up at 5:36 and I'm like, what? I mean, I seem to be able to go to sleep at night. I'm not spinning the plates then. I'm not working all the angles, looking for panic options. Yeah, could you upload a list of panic options, please, before I go to bed? Thank you, brain. What do we got? General death? No. The dating? How about just basic dread that you're never going to write an hour of stand-up again? The shooting thing and the fact that Thinky Pain is done. Hour and a half of stand-up comedy available on Netflix. Also, season 1 of Maron, which I'm finding nobody saw. I don't know if nobody has IFC or if it's just that people don't know where it is. I'm just happy it's up on Netflix. The first season of Maron, 10 episodes, up on Netflix. People are digging it. I know, and I've talked about this before, that more people don't know who I am than know who I am. But Jesus, it's kind of weird when you put as much work into putting yourself out there, and it's just what you do. When people on Twitter say, like, where have I been? Who's this Maron guy? I don't know, but I think you got here at a good time, because I don't know how much time I have left. That's not a dark or cynical thing. It just is what it is. I'm glad people are finding it. Maron, season 1, 10 episodes on Netflix, and Thinky Pain, an hour and a half of stand-up comedy, also on Netflix. Now I got to get into the new hour. But I don't have a lot of time because I'm shooting the second season of Maron. Hey, folks, when you have a great idea, you want to secure a domain name for it. You want something catchy and memorable to represent what you're doing. Well, Hover gives you exactly what you need to get the job done. So you can get started on it and move on to the next thing on your to-do list, which is making that idea even bigger, perhaps. Hover has a clean and simple website, so you don't have to mess around. In less than 5 minutes, you can find the domain name you want and get it up and running and get started actually realizing your idea. If you've registered a domain name before, you know that some companies make it a really unpleasant experience. Confusing. There's a lot of extra added charges. They just make it complicated. They make it complicated to search what you're looking for, or they try to upsell you with stuff you don't need on your way to the shopping cart, right? Worst of all, you have to pay extra for an upgrade for things that really should just be included. Hover is honest. They don't believe in being heavy-handed or charging you for something that should just be there. They include everything you need with your domain, no more, no less, and they have the best customer support around. Get started today at hover.com and use the coupon code AREWeGood to get 10% off. That's HOVER.com, coupon code AREWeGood, all one word. And also you can move your domain names over to Hover if you dig their service. Okay? All right. And while we're talking about our sponsors, one of our longtime sponsors, Warby Parker, just put together their annual end-of-the-year report. It's 365 days of Warb. And if you check it out, you'll see they highlight February 21st, which was the very first time they appeared on this show. They say some nice things about us on there, and the feeling is mutual, folks, at Warby. So you can check that out at warbyparker.com/WTF. Will Forte is on the show today, and I didn't know him. I never met him before, and I was a little nervous, but what a pleasant guy. Nice guy. And I'll tell you, that movie Nebraska, all these best of the year movie lists are coming out as we head into Oscar saison. Is that how you say that, with an accent of my own making? I enjoyed Nebraska. You know, I get screeners because I'm a member of several different unions. It's a union thing. A lot of people think like, oh, you Hollywood types. No, it's a union thing. Part of the union, you know, we get the good movies before you see them. It's a union thing. Sit in my Teamster chair in my living room and watch movies. But I enjoyed Nebraska. I'll tell you, man, that Alexander Payne fella, I've always liked the movies he's made with him and his partner, Jim. And this one was his own. He directed it, did not write it. And maybe it's just me. I don't know if you saw it or not. But I kind of like bleak comedy. I kind of like it if it's done well, if it's balanced properly. The Coen brothers do it very well, and Alexander and Jim do it very well. But the amazing thing about this film, about Nebraska, that I thought anyways, was that, and I just said thought with a New York accent. I don't know why. It was the only word in that sentence that I said that way, but I did it. Was that, you know, with digital film, I mean, it's very easy to knock out a movie. It's very easy to knock out anything with digital technology, but I think that Nebraska is the first black and white digital film I have seen where he really worked the tones, the tonal possibilities of black and white. I mean, I don't think that shooting a black and white film should just be, you know, shutting off the color switch on the camera. And it seemed that Alexander Payne with Nebraska was really looking very full tone palette and also framing every shot, almost every shot, beautifully on a photographic level. I mean, the Midwest can be bleak, and he definitely captured that. And I think that that using black and white was great. The whole thing was like an updated Dorothea Lange photograph in motion. But I just thought it was stunning that there's such a difference between somebody paying an amazing amount of attention to the tonal qualities of black and white and also to framing, and then to have this story and to have Bruce Dern and Will Forte, who did a great job. And the woman who played his wife, now it's eluding me. I'll talk to Will about it. I just thought it was a hilarious movie, but also touching and stunning to look at because of the attention paid to actually working black and white. I think we take too much for granted, man. You know, black and white's important. It's like The Last Picture Show. Kind of like that. And I do want to report that if it's okay with you guys, I've been dating a bit, and man, scary. A little scary, man. A little bit scary. As time goes on, the more relationships you have, Bitterness is certainly possible. Bitterness, paralyzed with fear, might be another way to put it, of being hurt or having the whole thing go to shit again, is there. And I'll tell you, man, there's something about, people who stay with one relationship their entire life, for better or for worse, limit their contempt to an individual. That means I think it's probably easier, and this is, I think, for men and women, to keep contempt intimate. That if you stay in one relationship, for a good chunk of your life, fortunately for you, you'll probably just hate that one man or that one woman on a very deep level. Hopefully your love will outweigh the hate or outbalance the hate. But you sort of make your contempt intimate. Whereas I think if you go through a lot of relationships that either hurt you or disappoint you, the possibility for misogyny and or man-hating, I think it's much higher. I think that to keep contempt and hate intimate to the relationship you have by staying in it and working through stuff is probably better than being disillusioned and consumed with anger over many relationships going wrong, because then it's easy to say, fuck them all. So I guess the message here is keep hate intimate, keep hate at home, and make sure that love outweighs it. If you can. And if you've been through a lot of shit, try to go into the next thing with an open heart. Good luck with that. Yeah. I'm in a new world right now, folks. I'm dating age appropriately, and I'm a little bowled over by the situation. I feel like a fucking teenager, and it's making me nervous. How's that? We're sponsored today by Slingbox, the only way to take your entire television experience with you wherever you go. Only Slingbox can deliver all of your live TV channels and what's recorded on your DVR wherever you are. At the office, on the road, like me, wherever, man. I got a Slingbox right here in my garage. It's ready to go. Look, we all have a lot of apps for shows, but a lot of times I still can't find what I want to watch. I just want to watch what I have at home. Having a Slingbox is the only way I can take my TV and DVR from home and watch it anywhere in the world. It's a little device that connects your cable or satellite box to the internet and lets you swing your TV anywhere in the world. And Swing now has a great app, the Swing Player for iPad, which is awesome. It has this way of finding shows that's better than any remote you've ever used in your life. It's also connected to Twitter and Facebook, so you can see what other people are saying about the show, too. And if you're a sports fan, it will give you all the live stats of the game you're watching. Live stats, folks. Sports people. It's a great way to watch TV, period. And best of all, there are no monthly fees. Swing has a special offer for WTF listeners. Go to slingbox.com/WTF and get $30 off plus free shipping on a new Slingbox. That's slingbox.com/WTF. All right, look, let's talk to Will Forte, who's a great guy, and it's another in a long line of SNL guests. But his story is a little different than most, and I'm wearing a bathrobe today with nothing under it. This might be a theme for the new year. Near nude or nude broadcasting. All right, here's Will Forte and me in the garage. Yeah, I've always done it. I've always done it out here. The first few I did in New York in a studio, but then from there on out, once I moved here, occasionally I'll travel to people. You were not one of those people.
That's all right. I don't just...
I was not coming to you, Will.
I'm not upset. I know my place.
No, it's not a place thing. If you were really old or really...
like Jack Nicholson.
I would go to Jack Nicholson.
Travel to Jack Nicholson.
Yeah, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
For anything, right?
Yeah.
If Jack said, Jack wants you to come over because he wants you to look at his yard. Yeah, I'll go.
Yeah. Of course. I want you to come look at my yard and pay me $1,000 to do it.
Okay. Yeah. That sounds great. Can I bring a camera?
Yes.
You haven't met him, though, have you?
I just got to meet him through Nebraska. He was buddies with Bruce Dern.
Back in the day.
So he threw Bruce a screening.
Come on.
Like had a screening and invited a bunch of friends.
At his house.
It was really except no at WME or whatever agency he's with. At their screening place.
So Jack was at the screening.
Yeah, he introduced the screening, and then like Mickey Rooney was there.
Mickey Rooney?
Yeah.
I didn't even know he was still alive.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Who else? Who else from the old crew?
Peter Fonda.
Right.
Those were the main. Oh, Bud Cort was there.
Oh, really? Was
Bill Hader?
Yeah, Bill Hader I know from the 70s.
Bill Hader's wonderful.
He's one of that crew back in Laurel
I heard
Canyon.
Sean Penn was there, but I never saw him.
How big was the screening room? How could you not see him?
It was
like theater size?
probably 400 people, I would think.
Oh, really?
Yeah, something like that.
The agency actually...
My mom was there, too, so I was trying to take care of my mom, and then,
How old's your mom?
She's 70, just turned 70.
You mean just take care of her, make sure she was seated? And...
I just wanted to make... She doesn't know anybody there, so I wanted to make sure that
make sure she was not sitting next to Peter Fonda, or that was going to get weird. I saw Nebraska, and I loved it.
Oh, thanks.
And I wouldn't say that. I would be, if I didn't like it, I would have said something like, I thought you were good. I mean, I really thought that what you did, some of the stuff you were doing was really good.
Thank you.
That'd be the horrible way. No, I liked everything about it.
Thank you.
I thought you were great. I thought that he did something with digital black and white that really hasn't been done yet, which is really considerate as black and white film in a way. Like, I think a lot of times you see black and white stuff that's shot on video, it just looks like they turn the color off and they just, they're just doing it for effect. But I think he really went out of his way to frame everything beautifully and push the contrast in a really nice way, so everything looked like a photograph. It was stunning.
Yeah, it really does look like a lot of Ansel Adams.
Yeah, or who's the one that
in front of?
Right, who's the one that did all those Dust Bowl photos? Dorothea Lange. Those kind of photographs.
Yeah,
that too.
Yeah.
But yeah, with the skies like Ansel Adams, So you notice that?
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
So walk me through the whole process, because I mean, this movie is, you're primarily known as a comic guy. You're a funny fella. SNL,
Thank
whatnot.
you.
But not many funny guys really make a transition like this, really. I mean, this was a real acting role. It was not, I mean, the movie has comic moments, but you are in no way a comedic character. So, just because you went to con with this thing, didn't you? Did you go?
Yeah.
You were there. So this is a big thing for you. I mean, you've never been to any of this shit.
It is such a collection of things that I've never, just a collection of new experiences.
So, okay,
Everything.
When did it first, let's walk through the whole Nebraska process and then we'll go back with the other stuff.
Okay.
So you're just a guy, you've done the MacGruber movie, you've done some TV, you've appeared in movies, you're a comic among comics. With your generation, with Hader and those guys, and you're just sitting around, and how does Nebraska happen?
Okay. I have an agent named Joe, and she sent me this script, said, you got to read this script. Alexander Payne would look at a submission if you submitted something.
So it was her idea in a way. She said, maybe Will's good for this.
Yes.
And I know Payne, he's, that's what agents do.
Yeah, and she made it seem like he was interested in a tape from me when essentially after you get to know him, you just realize he'll look at anybody's tape.
Right.
So I don't think she ever said, hey, I got this guy,
so
Will Forte, do you know him? Because he had never heard of me before this.
That's interesting. So that was a good agent move.
Yeah.
He wants to see a tape.
She just knew that he'll look at anything that's sent to him. So I was like, oh my God, Alexander Payne wants to see this. So I gotta, he's probably waiting for this. So I better hurry.
So you built this relationship in your head.
Yeah.
He wants to see me? Okay. Yeah.
Even I just still thought there's no way I would ever get this part, but the script, I loved the script. It was great, and I'm a huge fan of his.
What resonated with you with the script? I mean, you were it was for that part. It was not for the other brother.
Right.
You were reading for that part.
Yes.
Who was it? What was his name?
David Grant.
David Grant. Now, all right. So you're looking at that thing, and it moved you somehow.
Yeah, my grandpa on my mom's side was very similar to the Woody character, the part that Bruce Dern plays.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it really. A lovable version of that. Like, it didn't talk a lot, so you could be very frustrated with him, but still love him.
Right.
You're just not getting much communication wise. So it just felt very familiar to me.
Oh, good. Yeah.
And also a lot of the family dynamics, not necessarily the mother, father, brother relationship, but a lot of like the aunts and uncles,
the cousins.
There was something about that grandpa's brothers and sisters that it felt like a lot of the conversations that were had in this movie, even though they were in Modesto, California, and this all takes place in Nebraska, it seemed like that car conversation I had heard a million times.
Well, isn't it interesting, too, also, when you meet your grandparents' siblings, where you're like, what were they like when they were people?
Yeah.
Like when they were running around being things.
Yeah.
Like you can't, it's a very odd thing. And I remember from a very young age when you meet your grandparents, you're like, were you ever like, running around doing things?
Yeah.
And you see pictures from them in the war, like you were a guy then, a little guy.
It's interesting now to look at yourself. I see my parents as they're getting closer to what I remember of my grandparents, and just following that cycle of life and realizing your own place in that and going, oh my God, I'm about where my parents were. I'm moving that. I'm seeing they're laying out this trek.
Yeah.
This track for me, and I'm going to, hopefully if I don't,
something weird happens.
Then I'll go there too. And you just kind of see how it all happens. It's
how old are you?
Interesting. 43.
Yeah, but I just turned 50 and I'm not really feeling a transition. You don't have kids or anything, do you?
I don't have kids. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's nothing, there every day reminding me that, my life is fading away in a way, not to be cynical, but lately I'm like, I have to tell myself like, I'm 50. I earned this. Yeah. I earned whatever, I may not feel it or act like one, but I earned this.
I would never guess that you were 50 years old.
Really?
Very, very young.
Well, that's because I don't take on any heavy responsibilities that involve other people.
Keep doing it.
Can't handle a relationship. I got no kids. It's keeping me young at spirit.
Yes.
All right. So you read this thing. You did, and how do you make the tape?
Just recorded it. My girlfriend at the time did the Bruce Dern lines in kind of an old man voice. And film me doing it with one of those, what are they called? The little flip cams?
Oh, yeah, the flip cameras.
Phone?
Oh, yeah.
And
that was it?
Yeah, I probably did each scene 10 or 12
with your
times.
girlfriend going, hello.
Yeah. She's great. She's a great actress.
Yeah.
And sent them in to, I thought, oh, this isn't that bad. This is pretty good. This is, but, I don't know. I'm just not used to that kind of stuff. So I didn't know if, is this really good? Is it kind of lame? How will somebody like Alexander Payne look at this?
Well, right. But you mean that kind of stuff like serious acting?
Yeah. Like I know, I don't know. I know when I'm happy with something comedically.
Because you know where the laughs are.
Right.
Or they're supposed to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you go, I really felt good about that. But with this, it just was, that feels pretty good, but I don't, I don't have a very well-tuned gauge.
Were you conscious of doing something differently in terms of when you were reading with your girlfriend, because you know that there's no laugh line, so there's no decision to be made about, well, that's the funny part, and then if I make this choice, that'll be funnier. What'd you put into place? Were you more yourself?
Yeah, I was just playing it as myself, trying to be as real,
emotionally
as possible.
Authentic.
Because I thought, I don't know, try not to act too much.
Right. Yeah. Just feel it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you didn't grow up with alcoholism or any of that?
No. I mean, little, nothing direct.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Because like that, that in the movie, I thought that was an interesting moment where you learn that your character, is struggling with drinking on some level. It made a decision to stop for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And you don't really know why his marriage is not working the girlfriend thing, it's cousin marriage or this or that, but just being lost, untethered.
Yeah.
I'm always fascinated with scripts and with stories where there's an emotional logic to the generations. It was clear that you were his son. There was very specific reasons. That's just good writing, I think.
Oh yeah, the script is great, and the connection stuff. Like when you say that right there, it's I'm 43 and I'm not married, never been married, don't have any kids. So, it's, in a way, I'm kind of floating a little bit. And, I'm career-wise, things have been very, with this, fantastic. I mean, how exciting to get to be a part of this movie. But, so I'm happy with that stuff. But like that whole other side of my life is just a mess.
Yeah.
Not a mess, just
not happening.
Hasn't come together in the way that I thought it would.
Right.
Growing up as a kid, you just see your parents, their whole situation. You think, oh, that'll be my situation. I'll get married at 23, and I'll have my first kid at 25.
Yeah.
And my second kid at 27.
Right.
And then 23 comes, and then 25 comes and goes, I'm supposed to have a baby right now.
Yeah.
This is when I'm supposed to have a baby.
You actually have a biological clock that you're in the back of your head? Well, my parents are very young, too. But I think that they're probably kind of the same generation, it sounds like, give or take a few years. That's just what they did.
Yeah.
I mean, they weren't, it wasn't sort of like, I got career things to worry about, I'm not ready for this yet. They just did that.
Yeah.
It was almost like with no second thought.
Yeah.
Just gonna pop out some kids and build the thing.
Yeah.
Well, how was so what do you got? You got brothers, sisters?
Got one sister. She's 2 years older. She started having kids, so that's been wonderful to get to have this niece and nephew.
But that's also a reminder that, like, where's my life?
Those should be my kids.
Yeah,
and they should be 10 years older, both of them. So it's been really fun to see her go through that and get to be an uncle.
Well, what's your obstacle, you think?
I don't know. I think the obstacles are fading away.
Yeah. Well, you can't say like, I'm still working. I got to earn a living, and I don't have my career.
Well, it's weird because I don't think it was ever that I was focusing too much on work stuff. Mm-hmm. I don't think that was what stopped it. I think it was just definitely there is some OCD in my system, and for a long time I just thought that just affects the things that are very clear that it affects, like the checking the stove,
right? Checking
the faucets before I go out, making sure the doors are locked,
right? Do you ever go back to make sure your house isn't on fire?
Well, not usually, because I do a really good job leaving.
You throw a checklist?
Yeah, so I always know.
Wait, how long have you had this?
A long time, and I don't ever use my stove. And I check it.
I have the same thing.
Religiously.
Yeah.
But then after a while, you realize, these things are also present in other parts of my life that as you get older, you realize, this OCD stuff affects how I am in relationships, affects...
Like how?
Here's this doesn't have to do with relationships, but like in leaving a party.
Yeah.
It takes me forever to say goodbye because I want that closure on every.
Gotta be thorough.
I say goodbye to them. And I want to make sure I say goodbye to them. It's like I want the happy ending of a movie.
You're
on
compulsively
every
polite.
Conversation that I've had. Yeah, it's a sickness, a polite.
But if you leave a party and you're like, I didn't say goodbye, you got to go back. Run back in.
No,
hey, sorry.
But I will. In my head, I'll go like, I'm going to send that person a text tomorrow and say, sorry, I didn't get to say goodbye, or something like that.
That's a good OCD.
No, I know. No, it can be.
Yeah.
But not when you're in a relationship with somebody and you're taking up time with these, and a lot of times these will be people that maybe I'm not super good friends with.
Right.
I mean, if I'm really good friends with somebody, they're not going to care if I say goodbye. I'll see them again. Yeah. I'll say, you left early. I didn't get to say goodbye. And it's like, they don't care.
Yeah.
And if it's, and sometimes I'll put myself in a position of like, that person left this party without saying bye to me. Did I care? No, not at all. So why would I think they would care if I did the same thing?
Right.
But anyway, in a relationship, all this energy will be devoted to spending time worrying about making sure others are happy,
right? That
aren't as important as the girlfriend should be to me.
Okay.
So as I get older, I realize, I gotta, you reprioritize, and I'm also getting a handle on the OCD stuff. I mean, it'll always be there with me, but
so you're saying when you're with somebody else, when you're in a relationship with a woman, that you're kind of compulsively worrying about all these other things, and you're denying time to that.
Yeah, there will be things I'll do. I'll go out of my way to do favors for people that I don't know very well. Somebody will say, like the other day, will you send a poster to my brother? And so I spent a half hour, maybe an hour, dealing with getting the tube for the poster, this and that. And I've had this script I have had to write forever, and that's an hour then that I'm behind on that, and then eventually that's going to come out of time that I would spend with my family at Christmas.
Right. Stuff you need to do.
Yeah.
People you need to be with. You get locked in with something else. Have you thought about, because I have a little of it. I have a little of it, and it's odd because the character of David Grant is also, he's the child of an alcoholic, a chaotic father that was absent and emotionally erratic, and you're the brother who wants to make it okay, for dad.
Yeah.
That you're the one that's going to show up, even though he's, whatever, you still feel that emotional connection to try to make it okay for a guy that is never going to be okay. Really, he's just always going to be what he's going to be.
Yeah.
But if you can do a little bit of something, it'll also make you feel better.
Yeah.
But I've had experiences with that. You ever think about where it came from or when it started manifesting itself?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I actually did recently read a book on narcissism.
Mm-hmm.
And
which one?
The Wizard of Oz and Other Narcissists.
Really? Is that it's not a self-help book? It's just a fun book, or
it's
what is
it? It's just kind of I guess it is a self-help book.
Uh-huh. And why would you read a book on narcissism?
I went through a situation where I was, I knew a narcissist. Let's put it that way. And then in reading that,
a real one, not just someone who was narcissistic, but a real narcissist.
Oh yeah.
Scary.
And the interesting thing is, I fit into the enabler, and oh my god, I'm blanking on the term. It's a really easy term, also.
Codependent.
Codependent. And what this book says is being codependent like that is a form of narcissism, also.
Right.
Which is because you have this in your head, you're saying like, oh, I can help this person. Like you make yourself feel important by thinking, oh, I will be the one to be able to turn this person into not.
It's a draining thing, man.
Yeah.
I went through it recently. You're just, and it's innate. So in order to stop it, it feels emotionally peculiar. Yeah. Like to know that like, I can't help that person. Not my job.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't, this pre-existed me. It's unfixable. Can't change people unless they're willing to change themselves.
Yeah.
So it's just exhausting emotionally.
Yeah. It's so sad. Yeah. But the older you get, and you probably agree with me, you just realize like, okay, I can't fix everything. I have to be good to myself, because in being good to myself, that will be being good to the people around me also. Like by all the people I care about, I will be able to be a better family member, friend to them when I am, clear of all this stuff. Yeah.
Or at least, able to make decisions around it.
Yeah.
When the impulse occurs, you don't have to honor it.
Yeah. Oh, I think there was a better way for me to have just described it. I didn't do, but I think you know what I'm.
No, if you keep the focus on you and you don't, because the thing is that like there's a sensitivity to it, and maybe we share it. Like if you're a sensitive person, even if it's too sensitive, for whatever reason, and I think a lot of creative people are, is narcissists and people who are emotionally predatory. We're just we got signs on our head. They're like, that's the guy.
Yes.
We don't know it. They don't know it, but it happens.
Yeah.
And it's almost, it's not serendipitous. It's actual emotional wiring, and people feel that innately.
Yeah.
And that's how you get into those situations. I was just in one. And, it's difficult to realize, like, You know, when you're the one going like, why, you know, when you think it's not you, that to really identify that as an issue, it's tricky. Because you're right. I think sadness is what happens, is that when you can't honor your desire to try to fix somebody.
Yeah.
It is sad. Yeah. Because then all you're left with is empathy, you know, if you're relatively healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You want this person to be happy and you just realize, you just have to give up eventually.
Well, that's interesting because this is your character. I mean, this is the journey of the character in Nebraska. Did you know that?
It's interesting because there's so many things. Yeah, I think I probably unconsciously knew it the whole time, but as you go through it and then look back, and a lot of these lessons I was learning as the experience happened, you know, so there were, but now you look back and you go, oh, I see so many parallels that, you know, I've probably seen the movie 20 to 25 times now at different festivals and stuff like that. And it's interesting to see it so many times because you keep taking different things away from it. You see things in the performances, but the overall theme of the movie, comes at you differently depending on the type of day you're having that day. So it's so interesting to see something so many times like that. But yeah, there are a lot of little connections I've made, and it's also really fascinating because it's I have a great relationship with my family, but it just shows you like the little it just makes me want to be an even better family member.
Yeah.
So I it's I don't know, all these things coming together. I feel like
it's about the right time, man.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm feeling good. You know, I felt, I don't know, I don't want to say a little lost, but certainly I feel like I'm evolving. Mm-hmm. I'm I think becoming a better person, but
well, yeah, or more yourself.
Yeah.
Well, how'd you grow up? I mean, what was what kind of kid were you?
I was a really happy kid. My parents were wonderful, created this very loving environment, had a bunch of great friends.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah.
Every step of the way I didn't want to end. Like, I remembered junior high, I didn't want to go to high school. Actually, junior high wasn't a big deal because I was just going to high school.
But what about
with all
earlier?
The same people.
What about like elementary school?
I feel like I was always happy.
What was your interest?
The Oakland Raiders.
Oh yeah.
That was a bit. I wanted to be a football player
from early on.
Yeah.
So you weren't like an artsy kid?
I have tapes of doing old radio shows, just making up radio shows. I love Dr. Don. Dr. Donald Lee Rose.
Was he out here?
He was a Northern California guy.
Where were you growing up then?
Outside San Francisco.
Uh-huh.
So he was
which town?
Lafayette.
Oh, yeah.
Lafayette, Moraga till I was 13, then Lafayette.
There used to be a gig in Lafayette. I lived in San Francisco for 2 years.
Right by in Walnut Creek, right?
Wasn't it? Or there's a punchline in Walnut Creek.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right on the border of Lafayette and Walnut Creek.
Yeah, I did that.
A great place to grow up.
Yeah.
You know, just close enough to the city, but the city didn't matter to me as a kid.
Yeah.
But, you know, once you're only 25 minutes away from the city, and it was a pretty fun, slow-paced life.
It's beautiful up there. It's beautiful Bay Area. What did your old man do?
He worked in the city in the financial industry. He was like a stock analyst. And
oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Still?
No, now he's just like a ski bum. He lives up at the base of Squaw Valley and skis all the time.
Really?
He loves it.
So he retired?
Yeah.
So he's a ski bum. He's not like, you know, he's got some bread. This is how he's living it out.
70 years old and skis like every day. And his dad, who's still alive and is 95, skied until he was like 89.
Sturdy people.
He doesn't ski as much as he was way more of a golfer. He doesn't golf. Actually, no, he doesn't golf anymore. But he skied until he was 89. I think my dad is, you know, God willing, he'll be doing the same thing. And
your folks are together?
Not together.
How long?
They divorced like 20 years ago.
So you're already grown up.
Yeah, I was just. It was. I always wonder. I'm really happy they didn't get divorced when I was a kid.
Yeah.
But then this was a weird time also because I was just graduating from college.
Yeah.
And I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. And in my head, I was like, at least I have this wonderful family. And then I get the phone call. It's still, you have a wonderful family, but but it's
good.
Different. It's just you have to adjust to
now where do I stay when I go home?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I gotta see where my dad's living.
Yeah.
It's a weird transition.
Now the great thing though is they're all buddies and they.
Are they both remarried?
My mom has never remarried. My dad remarried and re-divorced. And we'll all spend Christmas together.
Really?
And have a great time. Like it took a little while, but we're all
the four of you.
Yeah.
Huh.
And it's really fun. He is a wonderful grandpa. Mom's a wonderful grandma, and it's really fun to all have at least a little bit of time where we're a family unit again.
It's very diplomatic and nice.
Yeah.
Wait, so they're just buddies? They're okay?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, and the oddest thing, the thing that brought them together was his new wife. And they're not together, but he is still friends with that ex-wife also, but she is this wonderful, wonderful woman. And my mom and dad had to be in the same place at the same time.
Yeah.
And
for an event.
God, now I feel bad. I'm totally talking. I hope none of their friends are listening to this.
It's all good.
Yeah, but they were for some event like a wedding or something.
Yeah.
They had to be in the same place at the same time. My mom got to talking with my dad's wife, Valerie, and they became really good buds.
Huh.
And that brought it was so great, and that brought her and my dad closer, and it's so fun to see them together because they have a really fun relationship. And
you remember it?
Yeah,
that's a very sweet story.
Yeah,
there's no sadness there. Nothing dark about it.
Nothing dark.
That's unbelievable.
Except for the dark stuff. It's great. No, it's all light. Mom, Dad, I love you. No, they're still married. My parents are still married. I was joking.
Oh, yeah. Oh, good. Good save.
They've been, yes.
What did your mom do when you were growing up?
She was a teacher and then gave that up to raise us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's sort of straight up middle class upbringing.
Yeah.
Just you and your sister.
Me and my sister. Dad did pretty well financially and put us both through college, and we never had to worry about that stuff. It was a deal where if we got really good grades, he would pay for our education. And if we didn't, then we'd have to, start paying our own way. But I thought, oh, that's a pretty good deal to just get good grades. I wanted to get good grades anyway. So.
Well, you seem like a pretty practical fellow. You couldn't have been pursuing anything too abstract. What were you studying?
I didn't know what I wanted to do, and his advice to me, which I followed, was just do a general. I was a history major, so he said just keep it general, and then you can figure out what you want to do, and then you'll go down that path.
And what'd you end up?
It's interesting because Alexander Payne is. In doing a bunch of Q&As for the movie, I hear him give that same advice. He'll say that his advice to people going into, even if they want to be a filmmaker, be a history major or something. Yeah. English lit. Anything. And then go to film school and learn. He said, you can always learn to make movies, but, get a very broad education.
A foundation. Liberal arts education.
What my dad would tell me.
Yeah.
And so that's what I did.
And when you graduated, what were you like? That day of graduation, you're like, here we go. What are we going to do?
Well, I did what my dad did. I went to, the name changed so many times, Smith Barney, or Smith Barney Shearson, or maybe it was Shearson Lehman Brothers when I got there. But I was working for this guy, cold calling for him, and it wasn't for me. Yeah. But I didn't know what I wanted to do, so I would sit there. I think I started writing while I was working there.
With what in mind?
I don't know. I know I wrote a movie script, a feature-length script.
What'd you do? Read Sid Field's book and? No,
just started. Just started.
Okay.
Didn't have any. This is before final draft even existed, I guess. So we would just kind of approximate where we would get a script and try to approximate where the dialogue should be.
You were writing with someone else?
Yeah, this woman, Anne.
Yeah.
And wrote a script, and then the guy who I was working for asked me to, he said he would pay for me to do the Series 7.
Uh-huh.
And he wanted me to join up with him as a junior partner to him.
To do bank brokering or whatever it is.
And then
was it clear what it was?
At that point I realized, like, if I did that with my general personality, that would have been it.
Yeah.
There's no way I would ever commit to that, go through this guy's test, and then ever leave him. My sense of duty
and loyalty.
Yeah.
Loyalty
like
and OCD.
Yeah.
Would have forced you to do the best you could for that guy.
Yeah. And so I said, all right, I'm going to try to do comedy, and went to the Groundlings. But that was the hardest thing was telling my family that I wanted to go into comedy.
Right. Did they see you as a funny guy?
Yeah. I mean, they always, I always was, weird, I guess you'd say. Weird and would push the envelope with them a little bit. I certainly was not a trained comedian. The weird thing for me, was telling them I wanted to do it, because to me it felt like, by even saying that you wanted to go into comedy was almost like bragging that you thought that you were funny enough to make it in comedy. So that was hard for me to make that statement.
Right.
But then I finally just said, I gotta do this or I'm gonna go crazy. And I told them, and they were supportive, incredibly supportive.
Well, it's interesting for a guy with OCD that likes having some order, or at least some sense of control in his life. The fact that you were able to turn your back on an opportunity, not because you didn't want to do it, but more so because you knew if you got into it that you wouldn't be able to pull yourself out because you thought you owed the guy something, or that you wanted. I'm going to spend my life just paying this guy back for dragging me into a life I didn't want. That you had enough foresight to know that, like, not only is it not for me, but if I do it, I'll never leave it.
Well, and I was waking up. I was stressed out. I woke up knowing that this was the wrong thing for me from the very beginning.
So comedy, though, that offers no real system or process.
Yeah.
That didn't cause you aggravation or fear or anxiety?
That was why writing was always, I would, when I was going through the Groundling system, so much of it is out of your control. You try to do the best work you can.
You were, 21, 22?
By that point, probably 24.
Uh-huh.
When I started the, you got to go through several levels before you get to the performing, to the stage.
Who was in it when you were there?
It was like Maya Rudolph and Jim Rash.
They were the main stage?
Or they? Oh, when I went to a Sunday show when I first signed up for the classes.
Yeah.
It was Will Ferrell, Sherry O'Terry, Chris Kattan, and then like a month or two later, they all got called up to SNL.
Uh-huh.
So that was exciting, and then spent the long process of going through the system. But the people who I went through it with were all like Cheryl Hines and Nat Fax and Jim Rash, Maya Rudolph, Oscar Nunez.
Wow.
Just a bunch of people of,
they were starting out with you at the Groundlings.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah, it was.
And you had no idea anybody was going to be, like the fact that they're, the delivery, or what's the word I want, the success rate of people placing themselves in show business. I mean, just the fact that was your crew. Yeah. It's pretty phenomenal.
Yeah. It was.
There's a lot of people whose names you don't remember, I'm sure.
Yeah, but I mean, it is pretty. It's really cool to look back on all these people, and and they had such an effect on the stuff that I did, and I'm sure that in the same way that they affected my stuff, I probably did theirs. So it's there's such a huge part of this whole experience for me.
So going through this thing, through the Groundlings and sort of learning, through sketch, because I came up as a stand-up. You never did any stand-up?
When did you start
doing stand-up?
And you lived in New York, right?
No, I've lived in a lot of places. I started, after college, I was out here for a year, then I went back to Boston and started in Boston. I started working professionally in Boston. I went to New York, and then I left New York and went to San Francisco for a couple of years, and then I went back to New York with a job. So I lived in several cities doing it, but it was all I did. I was never a sketch person.
Yeah.
You never did stand-up?
I tried it 3 times. I did a couple open mics.
Yeah.
And then...
Before you did Groundlings?
Kind of as I was going through the system, but once I made it to the Groundling stage, it was clear that the stand-up, I was not good at it.
Yeah.
And then I did a couple years later, I did some, I did Largo once with my buddy Mike Schwartz.
Largo when it was on Fairfax?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And Mike Schwartz, who's this awesome writer and really funny comedian, he had... I think it was Lisa Langang.
Yeah.
He had a slot.
Yeah.
That she had given him.
Yeah.
And so he said, "Do I want to do something with him?" And we did something that was way more sketch-like than stand-up. So, but yeah, that was like the only other time I did it.
So going through the sketch process, though, it seems to me that what you stand to find, like, were you able, in working with all these other people, doing, improv and sketches, what did you figure out? I mean, what do you think is what's your type? Like, if we're going to talk like commedia dell'arte or I've seen your work, but who do you work best off of? What do you think is your strong suit comedically?
I would say I'm patient. And willing to wait.
Yeah.
And will... I would say I'm a risk taker.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. Do you know there's something inside you that you can turn on to be funny? Like, I know that sometimes.
No, I'm a weird combination of. I have a real sense of belief in myself at the very core, and then tons of insecurities that cover it up. So I will.
That's interesting.
It's and sometimes those insecurities are like just, there are layers and layers and layers, and sometimes there are just a few little, usually there are, very rarely is there nothing but belief.
Yeah. But there's something
but every once in a while that happens.
Yeah.
But I don't know, I'll just, I don't know, I guess the main thing that I would say is that I will stick to my guns on stuff.
Yeah.
If I believe in it, I'll stick to my guns.
Are you more comfortable in a character?
That was what made this Nebraska thing interesting. Is that I absolutely. That's why stand up was hard, because when you're doing stand up, if people don't like it, they're not liking you. If you're like at the Groundlings, you can chalk it up to the character. Oh, they didn't like that character, but I could do a different character. So it was that was a little crutch. You throw a mustache on, and all of a sudden if you're not funny, it's the mustache that's not funny. It absorbs every
right. Now, if I had just taken that thing off, not figured out, not done that one thing over and over again, it would have been fine.
Yeah,
but it's not really you.
So Nebraska was so weird because it was. It's absolutely a character, but it essentially is close to who I am, and as we've discussed. So as you feel really, really, really vulnerable.
Right. I felt that. I feel it now. But but it's great that from all the stage work and from but SNL and everything else, but the confidence that you're talking about, I think it seems just from doing what little work I've done in acting is that being really present and having that thing that you say you have at the core, which is some sort of confidence or belief in yourself. If you can be present, and that's 90% of it.
Yeah.
You can be emotionally present for what's expected in that moment, for a scene or for, that's a rare thing.
Absolutely right. it sounds so easy when you say it like that. It's like, of course.
It's not. It's weird. Some people can't do it.
And Bruce would always say that. Bruce Dern would say that the whole time, like, just be in the moment. And it's like, yeah, of course. I know, Bruce. And it just seemed like kind of.
Why was he saying that? Were you going like, I'm not doing a good job. How come I?
No. It was just, he is wonderful and just tells the best stories, and he's really talks all the time. He's either telling a story or giving advice, or he's wonderful and was really good to me. But then in the course of talking, he would either be, he would never be lecturing. It would always be either in the form of a compliment. I thought you did did that scene very well. You're doing great. You're really you're in the moment. It felt very true. But yeah, so constantly he would always be talking about this truth of the scene and being in the moment. And it really, in this, very much registered what he was talking about. At the more and more I went along the Nebraska journey.
All right, so let's go back to that. So you turn in your tape, to your agent, who sends it on to Alexander.
Yep.
And then what happens?
Well, I didn't expect anything to happen, so I just almost immediately forgot about it. I sent it off.
Because it kind of happens all the time, right? When you have,
yeah. And if it was a comedy movie, I might have checked in on it.
Right, but you thought it was a long shot.
Hey, did anything ever happen? Yeah, I just thought there was no way I would ever get this part. So I felt good. Like, okay, now my agent will get off my back to submit this tape, and now I can just do whatever. And then 4.5 months went by, and then all of a sudden I went to Jamaica.
On vacation?
On vacation. There in Jamaica. Drinking Planters punches. I did get high once, and then I had to stop because I'm just a bad pot smoker. I just am not good at it.
What happened?
Oh, well, I went, there was this,
was reggae involved?
Oh yeah. It was too much. It was too much Jamaica. It was good. The Planters punches were enough for me. It was
so you drank, trip. So you were alcohol and then weed, and then that you just got it.
And then I came back to America and landed, and I had all these missed calls from my agents saying like, "Where are you? Alexander Payne saw your submission and wants you to come in person." Yeah, and it was the most exciting thing.
Out of nowhere, then at that point, because not even thinking about it.
Yeah. Certainly there was. Yeah, I when I submitted the tape, I thought, I don't know. Yeah, that's
you
all
felt
right.
good about it. Yeah.
But then when you do, I wasn't waiting for it, and then when you don't hear anything for a couple weeks, then it's just
didn't happen.
It didn't happen.
Right.
And then all of a sudden to get this call, it was out of nowhere. It was so exciting, and then terrifying because then I had to actually go in and do it in person. And then went in probably like a month and a half later. It felt like forever because I was ruining that situation. I'm not very used to auditioning because I was a writer for so long that I wouldn't, when all my friends at the Groundlings would be going in on auditionings and thickening their skins, I had rarely done that. So the one audition I had really done was SNL.
But so wait, now you went to Groundlings and all those other people immediately went into performing and you went into writing.
Well, I was doing Groundlings shows, but I got a job on the Jenny McCarthy sketch show for MTV, and then I got a job on Letterman. Yeah. And then a bunch of sitcoms, Army Show, Action, Third Rock from the Sun.
You were with Ron Zimmerman on Action?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What was that like?
It was, I mean, what an experience. It was,
what is the mythology around that show? Like, what got out of control about that? I don't even remember anymore. I met Ron. There was a period there where after Action, but it was just sort of like, it was sort of mythologized as like, this was it, man. This was the real deal about show business, and something went off the fucking tracks, right?
Well, it was, Chris Thompson is an amazing writer, and he wrote the pilot, and then we all came together. He assembled this staff, and Ron was part of the staff, and Don Rio, who's the best.
Yeah.
You know Don Rio?
Uh-huh.
He is just this legendary, showrunner. And he came in, he like had all these great stories about writing for Jackie Gleason, and I cannot say enough about this guy. He's wonderful. And then a bunch of other, younger writers, Jesser and Silverstein were there. I don't know if you know them, the Hamburger Brothers, Jimmy Vallely.
Yeah, Jimmy Vallely's
to me.
On everything.
Yeah.
He's been on everything.
He was such a delightful person.
Yeah, he is.
God, I know I'm forgetting people, but anyway, it was just a great show where you could write scripts with swear words and adult content.
Right.
It was on Fox, and
right.
They're going to beep everything out. So you could just it was as if you were writing an HBO show, and then of course, and then then you would come in and you would hear, oh, you can't do this,
right,
and you can't
right.
do that, and certain things. And I understand it, and then there were other little things, some actors who wanted to change their or well, I don't want to name names, but we had to change some storylines around. And it just little by little, but it was just an amazing experience.
And you were like, what, 26, 27?
I was probably 29. I had given up on acting. I would just have an outlet at the Groundlings. I would do Groundling shows.
And you were fine. You were working.
Yeah. I loved writing. It was great. So the SNL, thing was just as unexpected as this Nebraska thing. It just came, I was doing a Groundling show one night, and all of a sudden there's a whisper that I heard, oh, Lorne Michaels is in the audience.
Uh-huh.
And I was under contract at 70 Show, and we had just found out we got picked up for 2 years, so.
You were in.
Yeah, I had a great show that night because there was no way I could do SNL even if Lauren liked me.
Didn't give a shit.
All these people are, probably nervous about their show, and I was loose as a goose.
Yeah.
So I had a good show that night, and then he asked me to audition, and I hadn't even thought that would ever be something that I could do, and then Carsey Werner was. I wasn't even going to go.
Carsey went the production company at the 70 Show?
Yeah. Carsey Werner and Marc Brazil, they all said, oh, you got to go auditioning. Yeah. And I was hoping, I wanted them to say, oh, no, you can't go audition, because I was terrified of it. Anyway, so I finally just thought, okay, I got to go audition.
Yeah. And how was that?
It was as terrifying as I thought.
Did you have a meeting with him first?
I didn't. I did meet with him afterwards.
So you auditioned in the studio?
Auditioned in the studio.
Yeah. What'd you do?
I did this character, Tim Calhoun.
Yeah.
Who I did on the show a couple times once I got on it. And then a speed reader that I also did on the show. And this prison guard.
Yeah.
I did a Michael McDonald impersonation. Which nobody does, Michael McDonald, so that was really
the Doobie
fresh.
Brothers guy?
Yeah. No, that's like everybody's impression. Yeah. That's better than mine. And then I did Martin Sheen, and I don't do a good Martin Sheen. I just don't do impersonations.
Yeah.
So and then I did this sketch I used to do at the Groundlings. There was a song at the end of the sketch where it's about this gold man who panhandles, and basically it's the guy dressed all in gold, and if you give $1 or something, they'll do the robotic movement, and a robber comes and takes his
I hate those guys, the guys that stand still.
Yeah. So a robber comes, takes all his money, and then he is very sad, and then somebody a little kid and the dad said, why is this gold man so sad? Well, I don't know, but if you give him $1, maybe he'll tell you. And if you give him $2, maybe he'll tell you in song. So the kid puts $2 in, and I sing this really uplifting song about, the tough life of a gold man, and then at the end, it's you find out it's because I got a little secret. I suck cock for my face paint. I suck cock for my face paint. And then the rest of the song is just the words cock and face paint, basically. I suck cock for my face paint. Cock, face paint. Cock, 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 face paint. And it's just like cock, cock, face paint, cock, cock, cock. It's just like probably 250 times saying the word cock. And I did that at SNL as the final thing, and then I walked out, and Lorne was right there, and he said, "Oh, thank you for coming." And I said, "I'm sorry about all the cocks." I didn't know what else to say. I was just like, ah. And then that was it. And then I found out I got the job.
I'm sorry about all the cocks.
Sorry about all the cocks.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Nothing. You got nothing? Not a smile?
I don't remember. It was such a daze, and it's dark in the room too.
Yeah.
I think he's seen it all. So like, I think he probably just nodded.
Yeah. Okay.
He's wonderful. Wait. So what?
So you do the meeting with him.
Yeah.
So what was the meeting like? Was he nice? What did he say to you? Well, you're going to put on. Do you mind wearing dresses and change your hair?
I don't remember. I don't remember what the meeting was. It definitely was not, you got the job. Uh-huh. It was just, or maybe it was like sometimes I think it was like, could you see yourself living here?
Right.
But I think he was kind of alluding to the fact that I was going to possibly be hired.
Yeah.
But it's unless you say you have the job, you are hired.
Yeah.
You could say, hey, might hire you, and I'm taking out the word might. You'd have to, that wouldn't.
It doesn't work with you?
You'd just have to say, I am offering you a job.
So you didn't even know. After your meeting with him, you had no idea.
I had no idea.
Right.
And I found out, I think, the next day.
From someone else?
Yes.
Yeah. Marcy or somebody? Or somebody on the cast?
I forget. Somebody called my agent. Like, nobody calls you directly.
Right.
And that's everywhere, Actually, Alexander called me. He called me when I got the Nebraska job. But it's usually you hear from your agent, I think.
Right. So the point being is that you had no idea really how to audition because it was not your thing. You weren't used to taking the hits, so you're freaking out, and you got to go read for Alexander.
Yeah.
And who was in that room?
Just Alexander and John Jackson, his casting director.
No Bruce.
No Bruce.
So you do that, and then what happens? How'd that go?
It was fine. I felt very nervous. I felt like I could have done it a little better.
Yeah.
But afterwards he was very complimentary, and that was really exciting because I still thought, this is something I'll never forget, that when Alexander Payne told me he thought I was a good actor, and that's just something I was going to take that. I just thought, that's it. That is my prize here. I'm not going to get the part, but that's.
And he said that.
Yeah, he said he said something like that, and it was really, really exciting. And we talked for a while and got along very well. He's very easy to talk to. John Jackson's also incredibly nice. So that was a really wonderful experience. And then but I just didn't know, is that what he says to everyone? He's a gentleman and a nice person, so maybe he just, it's hard to audition and put yourself out there. So I feel like, I would probably say that to every person that auditioned, even if they were horrible. You were great. You did a great job.
Sure, of course. Yeah.
So I didn't know. And then like a month later found out I got the part, and it was.
Without reading with Bruce at all.
Right. I met Bruce about a month later.
At a table read?
No, we went and had a steak dinner, Bruce and Alexander and I.
Good steak?
The only time I've ever been there. I am a order fish at a steak place guy.
Okay, so you order fish.
Not all the time, but I'll usually have a bite of somebody's steak and go, why didn't I order this steak? It was good.
Yeah, and then beat yourself up for it?
Yeah.
So what happened at that dinner? Were you getting to know Bruce? What was the idea?
Oh, it was so fun, but a little intimidating at the same time because Alexander and Bruce have this really wonderful shared knowledge of old movies and even very peripheral actors who are in those movies. Like oh, you remember this person who came in and said this line? And I have such a bad memory that I will forget sometimes the endings of movies that I have seen the day before. Like Winter's Bone. I saw Winter's Bone. Really liked the movie.
With Jennifer, what's her name?
With Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah.
Loved the movie. And the next day, I couldn't remember how it ended.
Yeah.
And that is not, I'm not slagging, that's happened in a bunch of movies. That's just the one I can remember for sure. I remembered the next day going like, geez, how did that end? I can't remember. And I don't remember.
I don't remember either.
And I loved that movie. I loved it.
There's hillbillies and speed involved.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's wonderful. I have nothing but compliments, but it's
weird. I got confused. Like I picture her in Winter's Bone and it's confused with the Hunger Games now.
Oh.
Like, she's doing something with a bow. All right. So you get the movie, you're talking to Bruce. Did you feel like you're being tested though in some way to get along with Bruce or
not at all? Like and in a lot of ways it felt, looking back, it's like, oh, that's not true because in the movie Bruce is incredibly silent.
Yeah.
But it generally, that was my place of just kind of being respectful and sitting there. So I was it was very fun because I realized, what an exciting experience this is to get to be working with this director I have so much respect for, this legendary actor who's filled with all these great stories. But there was a little bit of nervousness in terms of like, what is my communication going to be like with each of these guys? Like, I can't communicate on this level. I don't have that knowledge of old film that they do. And I just had to trust, like, I'll find some way to communicate with them. And obviously, of course we did. Oh yeah. I mean, Bruce is like, he's like family now.
Yeah.
And it's been so much fun. And Alexander, he's busy working the whole time. So Bruce, I'm stuck in a car with him hours and hours and hours every day. So we got to know each other incredibly well. And Alexander, it's been really fun because, since making the movie, we've gotten to hang out a lot. And it's really fun. Like, I went to Omaha.
He's from there, right?
He still lives for like half the year in Omaha. And so I went, there was a roast, of Alexander in Omaha, and he, invited me to be one of the speakers, which was a huge honor. And then he invited me to stay with them also. So we had this wonderful 4 or 5 day period where we're hanging out every day. And it was really fun to get to know him, in the way that I felt like I had gotten to know Bruce. But, Alexander, he's got, those directors, they're just calling all the shots. So he's, there's very little downtime where you get to.
Right. Oh, during the movie.
Hang around in the same way that two actors between takes.
Right. Sitting in a trailer, running lines, or just like waiting. A lot of waiting.
Yeah.
All right. So you shoot this movie and you spend a lot of time in Nebraska. And the woman who plays your mother is spectacular.
June Squibb.
Holy shit.
Yeah. She's great. She's the Jack Nicholson's wife in About Schmidt.
Yeah, right. I didn't realize that until this morning.
Yeah, and she's amazing because she's so different in that movie from how she is in this
scene
movie.
In the graveyard is fucking great.
That's the very first thing she did too. I don't want
to spoil it for anybody, but that's spectacular.
Wonderful. Yeah.
So you go to Cannes. Now, so this whole world, I mean, you did the MacGruber film, but that was specific.
Yeah.
I mean, that's your peers all do those kind of movies, and you knew what to expect from them. It's an odd movie.
Yeah. I mean, we are super proud of that movie. We love, it turned out exactly how we wanted it to, which sounds crazy if you've seen it. You go, that's what you wanted it to turn out into. But yeah, it's hard when you're proud of something and a lot of people don't see it, because then you have to really,
what was the primary problem with it? from other people's point of view?
I don't know.
You know,
I mean, it's not for everybody. We didn't make it for everybody. We made it for ourselves. We thought if we stick to our guns, Jorma Taccone, who wrote it and with John Solomon, Jorma Taccone, and me. We all wrote it together. Jorma directed it. Yeah. And John is a great director in his own right. So he also, was like this invaluable directing sidecar.
Do you want to direct?
Yes and no. I mean, at a certain
OCD
point,
if
you asked that a long time ago, I would have said, "Oh, for sure, it's very important." But I used to be a huge control freak, and now I've realized that, like, as long as I'm working with somebody that I trust, when you trust somebody, I'm able to trust now. Yeah. And before it was like, oh, I can't, if you want it done right, you got to do it yourself. And
where'd that control freak?
Alexander Payne knows how to do it.
Yeah, right,
so I don't have to, I can, yeah.
Yeah, you learn to work with others and you learn to, so yeah, I mean, trust someone else's vision, especially if they're someone with a vision.
Yeah, yeah.
Where's the control freak thing come from? Have you ever tracked it? I mean, was there chaos somewhere back there?
I don't know. There must be something.
Your dad wasn't nuts? Your mom wasn't nuts?
No. Nobody was nuts. Nobody was nuts. I don't know.
No.
I don't know.
I think maybe it just comes from a general anxiety. Yeah. Yeah. So, all right, so you go to Cannes. What was that like?
Oh, it was awesome.
I mean, that's not like
it's scary. It scared me also. It's I'm a little bit of a fish out of water in those situations. And I'm not a fancy dresser, so I
did you have to buy some stuff?
Yes. I am because I mean, nighttime stuff, you're just wearing suits. Yeah. Tuxedos are required in some things. That's easy. Okay, fine. But it's the daytime stuff where people would go, just it's casual. Yeah. And my level of casual is way different than
the European
film
casual?
festival casual. Yeah. So
then France casual.
Yeah. When they say casual, they're like, linen suits.
Yeah.
Right. You don't need pocket squares in my type of casual. So my friend Minty, this wonderful woman who is a great fashion designer herself, took me out and, brought me around to all these different places and, got a bunch of Paul Smith suits and so and she had to explain to me that don't worry about the wrinkles and the linen suits, and that was all stuff that really freaked me out. And so much so that I remembered putting on the suit, and we had to go do these photo calls, and I didn't even want to lean down and tie my shoelace because I didn't want the pants to prematurely wrinkle because I didn't trust the fact that you were supposed to be okay with the wrinkles.
On the linen.
Yeah.
The wrinkles.
Yeah.
Couldn't handle it.
I walked a little more stiff-legged than I would have, and then once all the photo stuff happened, then I moved.
You let it wrinkle?
Yeah, I let it wrinkle.
But up to that point, I think, the thing is fucking about this OCD stuff. Yeah. Is I think it's a way to ground ourselves. That, because if you think about, ritual in general, it's a way to feel like you have control of something. Like I know, like, in my mind, so you're you're fish out of water. It's a new experience. You got a lot going on that you've never had to deal with before. I mean, what would you rather think about? How overwhelming that is, or whether you're going to wrinkle your pants?
Yeah, that's a good. I never thought about it like that, but that is. There's something to that for sure.
It's like, it keeps it fucking simple. It keeps you grounded. Yeah. I mean, because if you're like a guy like me, where the possibility for anxiety, if I don't have that stuff, like if I can't get that one thing, like with all the stuff you're going through, it's probably a fucking gift that you're not going like, oh my God, you're just going like, oh, just walk so you don't wrinkle your,
you're absolutely right. I never, you've just helped unlock a little piece of this. I will also say that when you brought that up, it made me realize that every once in a while I will go very big picture on stuff. I mean, like, ultimate big picture is realizing you're at some point going to die. What does it matter? Anyway, what is this?
That's the biggest picture.
Yeah, that's the biggest picture. But, slightly pulled back from that big picture. Yeah. I'll go there. Like, what does it matter? What all I care about are really my family and friends. That's what I really care about. Or like, I have to really fuck up in a major, major way to be memorably idiotic.
Right.
You know, so like
it's a little easier for you to do that as a public personality, but yeah.
Yeah, but like say I go on Letterman or something and I tell boring stories.
Yeah.
You know, are people going to remember? I mean, it's got to be really, really boring for it to stand out.
No, you got to go on Twitter and say all Jews must die.
Yeah,
that'd be a hard one to absorb.
Yeah, so I'm not going to do that.
Yeah,
so
good.
So I just you realize you find ways to cut yourself some slack. But then I remember when my grandma died, and I've the ultimate big picture thing.
Yeah,
I thought this is going to happen to all of us. Why do I spend one moment of my life worrying about anything?
Yeah.
I should just be not worrying about anything ever. And then I went, flew back the next day to New York to do Flight of the Conchords.
Yeah.
And the lesson was gone that day because I was nervous about, are they going to, did they let you? And it turned out to be a wonderful experience. I love doing that show. And it's me being crazy. It has nothing to do with them, obviously. But I just almost immediately was nervous about everything. And are they liking me? Am I doing this right? And just, I probably went back to my little, pants wrinkling.
No,
situation.
but I know. It's anxiety.
Yeah,
it's dread and anxiety in your brain. But do you get locked into morbid thoughts, or do you always assume that you're not doing well, or you always assume that you're going to fail, or that what is it called, morbid thought syndrome, where you do that, you sort of ruminate on the negative things that could happen?
No, I would say I'm. God, it's weird because I'll certainly go through the morbid cycle every once in a while, but I would say I'm way more likely to think about the positives and go into a situation thinking like somehow this is going to work out. This is going to work out. I'm realistic about stuff.
Yeah.
But realistic and feel like I put in the time and effort, usually to put myself in a good position to have but you still get nervous about stuff.
Sure. But you got to think yourself through. You got to convince yourself every time.
Yeah, oh yeah. Okay. And the further I go along, with stuff, and you get more comfortable just being in every situation, like the Nebraska situation for the last several months has been a lot of screenings and Q&As, and it's at times scary to talk in front of people. And now I've done it so much that now I feel much more comfortable. Talking in front of people, and I don't know. You just I feel like I'm loosening up on myself, and it's not even just that you're comfortable doing getting out in front of people. You just are comfortable making a mistake.
Right? Yeah, you're human.
Like I think that people would tell me, "Oh, you're kind of OCD," before, and I go, "Nah, I'm, whatever." And just the moment that I actually said, "Yeah, I am," was such a part of the burden was lifted. Yeah. Or I went to therapy once. I hadn't gone in years, and then I went through this breakup several years ago, and I finally went to therapy for the first time, and it was like, it wasn't even the talking to somebody about stuff. It was the act of giving up part of myself to say like, oh, yeah, I need somebody else to help me with this. I can't do everything myself was a freeing thing. And
it's great because like that whole perfection thing, your brain was sort of like, well, that other guy, he must, how come he doesn't have these problems? You start to create this landscape of everybody else seems to figure it out. And then, or you get into that situation, especially with a breakup, where your confidence is injured on that level.
Yeah.
That feeling of sort of like, why am I even trying? I can't do it.
Oh yeah. At times, sure. Everyone does.
It's just the worst where you go on a date with somebody and you're like, I'm an idiot. Like, I'm 50. I'm going to drive home from a date and go like, oh, damn it. I shouldn't have said that. What is that? What the fuck is that?
I know you think that eventually that'll go away, but it never. I keep thinking like, when you grow up, you're thinking, oh, at some point, all of life's
how it goes away?
Are unlocked.
It goes away when you marry and have kids at 23. Then you're locked in. You know what I mean? I mean, that's the big difference. There's a difference between us and our parents is that they weren't wandering around at 45 years old going like, I hope I can meet a girl I like. Whether they liked him or not, they were in it. They had all those grown-up responsibilities around kids, and I don't think that they were. I think our generation is a little more entitled and a little more self-involved.
Yeah.
And they just sort of sucked it up, and none of them ended up staying married. But
that's the thing is you look at these people and you have a tendency, and not everybody, because there are certainly people you go, oh, I'm so happy I'm not that person.
Yeah.
But the people usually that you look at and you go, oh, I admire this person. Look at how normal they are, or whatever. They got their shit.
Oh yeah.
And the couples that you admire so much, then they get divorced, and you go, oh God, happened? What happened? And it's like, and so it's, I guess the main thing is just like, because it's just, learning just be happy with yourself, which I'm still learning to be.
Don't make up lives for everyone else.
Yeah.
Most of what you think about other people or most of what you believe is just garbage you're making up. You're idealizing everybody. It's this fantasy life that, of course, look how happy they are. Yeah. He's got his own plane and he's crying in it.
Because they're always smiling whenever they see me.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you're doing great. And I hope the movie fares well in the award season.
Thank you. I'm so happy you liked it.
No, it was great. And it was great talking to you.
Yeah, good talking to you.
That's it. That's our show. Great guy. It was warm. I felt warm. I highly recommend that movie, by the way. And I'll recommend other movies, if it means anything to you. Go to WTFpod.com for all your WTF pod needs. Check in. Leave a comment. Don't be a dick. Get the app. If you get the app, you can get it for free and then upgrade it for a few bucks, and you can stream all 460, whatever, episodes of this show. The archive. Watch Maron Season 1 on Netflix. Watch Thinky Pain on Netflix. You can pick up my book, Attempting Normal, in any format. You can get it over there, put it on your Kindle, and get the book itself. Paperback's coming out soon. I got to go memorize some lines. I got a big scene today with Sally Kellerman, who's playing my mother. I enjoy talking to you people. I'm glad you're hanging out. And Def Black Cat is around. He's around a lot now. It's weird when you give when you give a cat chicken, they hang out. Monkey and LaFonda are well. They're aging. Guess we're all getting old together. Going to try to keep that a happy event. Living alone and aging slowly with 2 cats. Going to keep that on the plus side. Let's keep the tone around that in the positive column. Boomer lives!